Guys, this is Gladys again. I am back. It took me some time because I had to rethink my measurements, and I'm sure none of you ever do that. But I do it all the time, so I like to quote my father when anytime that he would like change his mind on anything, my mom was like, why? Why did you do it? And he would say, well, because I'm not an insect. I can change my mind. So that's stuck with me, and ever since or every time I'm changing my mind or measurements or whatever, I always think, oh well, I guess I can do that too. So anyways, joke aside, just thought I'd throw that a little bit. Coming back, you've already gone through the envelope. This is what they should look like. You see how nice and crisp, and they really do look professional. But I'm seeing here that it's not that even. But anyways, that can be fixed. That's part of my OCD here going on. But they do look really nice, okay? So basically, this is what we're going to do. Okay, back. This is 7, the back of the box, so that's how tall the box is going to be. I think this one is a little taller, and I talked to you about changing that just because of the stability of the box. It wasn't as great because it's not a very wide based box, so the taller it is, it does affect the stability of it. So this ones were made to be, I believe, 7 by 4, and the width and the tallness of the box is going to be 7 by 4.5. Don't worry about, this one may be a little bit longer. We're going to cut this ones anyways. We're not going to be using the flap at all. So we're just going to cut a little bit more into here. We need the envelope completely open, like this. So don't worry about that. I just wanted to show you how to make the envelopes, and this is kind of, I'm not sure if it's a standard size, but I think it's a very nice size that you can utilize for a lot of things, For God's sakes, looks like we now can make your own mail-in envelopes if you wanted to. If they're going to look this good, why not? So, going back to the measurements, here is where you're going to need a pen or a pencil and some paper to write things down. And I'll give you the measurements and how I have them labeled and also numbered. And I did number this one here and then this one right here. Okay, so I don't know. Let's see if I can zoom out a little. Oops, no. It's all I can do right now. Sorry, I moved the camera there. That's all I can zoom out. So you're going to need the first piece, and they're in the order that we're going to stick them to the paper too, okay? So the number 1 is your front overlap. That's how I named it. And that one is 4.5 by 4.5. Number 2 is called just top, which is the top of the box. And that is 4.5 by 2 3/4. Number 2. Number 3 would be the back of the box, and it's 7 inches by 4.5 inches. Number 4 is the bottom of the box, and that one is 4.5 by 2 3/4. And last, number 5 is called front bottom. It's 5 inches by 4.5 inches. So that is the sequence that you're going to have, 1 to 5. So if this makes more sense to you, I'll explain to you why is this way. This right here will be this little piece. This is the overlap. That's why I called it the first one, overlap. And it has to be in this position, okay? Number 2 is just the top of the box, and we know because this is the top of the box. Number 3, it's the back of the box. Number 4 is the bottom of the box, and number 5, which is the last one, it's the front but bottom part of the box. So that will be this one, is this one. So that's how we come up with those, those numbers and those names for them. Now you're going to need 2 pieces of 12 by 12 designer paper of your choosing. I'm going to use something different this time than what I used before. So You need to have 2 of them, and you need to glue them in the middle. So I don't cut the little, you know, that section that comes, this the white strip that tells you the brand and the name of the design or designers. I don't cut that out because I use that to overlap into the other paper, because I'm going to need as much of this 12 inches into it. So that's the reason why I just keep it there. Now, one thing to remember, if you're working with like flowers or certain patterns that it doesn't matter, you know, whether it's top or bottom, there's no problem. But if you are working with wording, scripts, or any ads, anything like that, or even a person's face, you don't want them to, you know, look upside down as you close your box. In other words, you know, this, you have to make sure that you put your papers in a way that they may look funky in the back, but as you close your box, you want to be able to look this way. In other words, you want to be able to look at the front of the person instead of, you know, their feet. So that's exactly what we're doing here. So as I turn this down, I can see I'm gonna be able to read that, and it's not upside down. Now one of them will be upside down, and that's going to be around the bottom, and I believe, no, I did it correctly too. So just something to keep in mind. If you don't care that looks like that, when it's just wording, I don't think it really matters too much. But I say when you have, like in here, the first time I did this, you can see that the words right there, Paris, it's backwards. But I kind of covered it or distracted from it by adding this stamp right here of this lady, and then the Eiffel Tower. So those are really the focal points on this box. So I don't think a lot of people have noticed that, but if you see on top, it's okay, and then you go to the back, it's properly. But remember, we're overlapping, so that's why you just kind of have to keep that in mind. Okay. All right, so those are the numbers that we are going to be working. Number 1, front overlap, and is 4.5 by 4.5. Number 2 is called top, 4.5 by 2 3/4. Number 3, back of the box, and is 7 by 4.5 inches. Number 4 is the bottom, 4.5 by 2 3/4. And last one, number 5, front bottom, it's 5 inches by 4.5. And I'm going to wrap it up for this video today, but before I go, you've already explained to you how I put this together, these 2 papers. I am going to measure, let's see if I can put this a little bit in. I'm going to measure from this end to here 5 inches, and then I'm going to cut all this, because this piece is going to help us to line the inside, so we're not wasting anything. Okay, I'll wrap it up for this video, and I'll start a new one in a little bit. Okay, see you in a little bit. Bye. Guys, this is Gladys again. I am back. It took me some time because I had to rethink my measurements, and I'm sure none of you ever do that. But I do it all the time, so I like to quote my father when anytime that he would like change his mind on anything, my mom was like, why? You know, why did you do it? And he would say, well, because I'm not an insect. I can change my mind. So that stuck with me, and ever since or every time I'm changing my mind or measurements or whatever, you know, I always think, oh well, I guess I can do that too. So anyways, joke aside, just thought I'd throw that a little bit. Coming back, you've already gone through the envelope. This is what they should look like. You see how nice and crisp, and they really do look professional. But I'm seeing here that it's not that even. But anyways, that can be fixed. That's part of my OCD here going on. But they do look really nice, okay? So basically, this is what we're going to do.